The fog rolled in off the Atlantic like a reluctant guest, blanketing Willow Bay in a soft gray hush. Eleanor Hargrove stood at the edge of her porch, a steaming mug of Earl Grey cradled in her hands, watching the mist swirl around the lighthouse in the distance. It was early spring, the kind where the air still nipped with winter's farewell, but the daffodils in her front garden were pushing through the soil, defiant yellow heads nodding hello to the sun. At 62, Eleanor had learned to read the weather like an old friend. Unpredictable, but always revealing something deeper if you listened. Love stories like Eleanor's, filled with family, heartbreak, and hope. Subscribe to our channel for weekly tales that tug at your heartstrings. Click below to join our community and never miss a story. Her cottage, a salt-faded Victorian with gingerbread trim and a widow's walk that offered panoramic views of the crashing waves, had been her sanctuary for 4 decades. Built by her husband Thomas's calloused hands during their first summer of marriage, it was a testament to love's labor. Thomas Hargrove had been a fisherman, broad-shouldered and quiet, with eyes the color of storm-tossed seas and a laugh that rumbled like thunder over the bay. They met in 1982 at the annual Willow Bay Seafood Festival, where Eleanor, then a 22-year-old librarian fresh from library school in Boston, had volunteered to organize the storytelling tent. He'd wandered in, reeking of salt and chum, seeking shelter from a sudden downpour. "Mind if I dry off with one of your tales, miss?" he'd asked, dripping onto the canvas floor. Eleanor, flustered but intrigued, had pulled Moby Dick from the shelf and read aloud, her voice steady amid the patter of rain. By the time the storm cleared, Thomas had proposed they grab chowder at the pier. 6 months later, they were married under that same lighthouse, vows exchanged with the gulls as witnesses. Life in Willow Bay was simple then. Summers hauling lobster traps, winters curled by the fireplace with Daniel's baby blankets knitting themselves under Eleanor's needles. Daniel arrived 2 years into their marriage, a squalling bundle of joy with Thomas's dark curls and Eleanor's hazel eyes. Eleanor quit the library to raise him, trading Dewey Decimals for diaper changes and bedtime stories. Thomas taught the boy to mend nets and read the tides, while Eleanor filled his head with poetry and dreams of places beyond the horizon. But the sea, that capricious lover, claimed Thomas when Daniel was 20. A rogue wave during a nor'easter, and he was gone, swept under like a forgotten line. The funeral was a blur of casseroles from neighbors and the relentless crash of waves at the graveside. Eleanor, shattered, poured her grief into Daniel, becoming both mother and father, cheerleader and coach. She returned to the library part-time, shelving books with mechanical precision, but her true library was home. Shelves groaning with volumes on architecture, Daniel's passion, travelogues, his wanderlust, and romance novels, her secret solace. Daniel grew into a man who bridged worlds, rooted in Willow Bay's salt but reaching for Portland's steel and glass. He studied architecture at the State University, graduating with honors and a portfolio of sustainable designs that caught the eye of a firm in the city. "Mom, this is it," he'd said, hugging her tight at commencement, his cap tassel brushing her cheek. "But I'll be back. Promise." Visits became sporadic, Thanksgivings with takeout turkey, Christmases with hurried gift exchanges. Eleanor filled the quiet with her garden, her quilting circle, and long walks on the beach where she'd scatter wildflowers for Thomas. She dated once or twice, widowers from town who smelled of pipe tobacco and regret, but nothing stuck. Her heart, she told her best friend Martha over scones at the Bayview Cafe, was a cottage by the sea, charming but best left to its own rhythms. Martha O'Leary, a retired nurse with flame-red hair and a wit sharp as a scalpel, had been Eleanor's confidante since high school. Widowed herself a decade earlier, she ran the local bookstore, Tides and Tales, where they met weekly for gossip and green tea lattes. "You're too good for those old salts, Ellie," Martha would say, pushing a dog-eared romance across the counter. "Wait for the one who brings the storm and the rainbow." Eleanor laughed it off, but deep down, she wondered if rainbows were for the young. Her world was Daniel now, and that was enough. Or so she thought until Sophia. It was a balmy August weekend 4 years ago when Daniel brought Sophia home. Eleanor had spent the morning baking, lemon bars dusted with powdered sugar, her specialty, and arranging fresh zinnias in a vase on the dining table. The cottage sparkled, windows flung wide to invite the sea breeze. When Daniel's truck rumbled up the drive, Eleanor smoothed her apron and stepped out, heart fluttering like a girl on her first date. Out tumbled Sophia Langford, all legs and laughter, in cut-off shorts and a billowy white blouse that caught the wind like sails. Her blonde hair cascaded in loose waves, and her green eyes, vivid as sea glass, lit up as she extended a hand. "Mrs. Hargrove, Daniel's told me so much about you. This place is magical, like something out of a novel." Eleanor shook her hand, noting the manicure and the easy confidence. "Call me Eleanor, dear. And thank you, Thomas built it with love." She pulled them inside, fussing over iced tea and plates of bars. Daniel, tanned from a recent hike, grinned like the cat with the cream. "Sophia's an event planner in Portland. She's the one who makes those corporate bashes look effortless." Sophia waved it off, perching on a stool with the grace of a dancer. "Oh, it's all smoke and mirrors. But seriously, Eleanor, your garden. Goals. I'm killing every succulent I touch." They chatted for hours, Sophia regaling them with tales of a celebrity gala gone wrong, a chocolate fountain malfunction that turned tuxes into abstract art, Eleanor sharing stories of Daniel's childhood mischief, the time he borrowed Thomas's boat for a pirate adventure. By sunset, they were walking the beach, barefoot in the surf, Sophia linking arms with Eleanor as if they'd been friends forever. "Daniel's lucky," she said, toes digging into wet sand. "To have a mom like you. My folks were always elsewhere. Dad in court, mom at spas. Family dinners were takeout with a side of silence." Eleanor squeezed her arm. "Well, you're part of it now. Mi casa es su casa, though my Spanish is rusty." That weekend set the tone. Sophia visited often, helping Eleanor weed the lavender beds or brainstorming Daniel's birthday surprise, a weekend getaway to the coast. She even convinced Eleanor to try yoga on the porch at dawn, their laughter echoing as they toppled into child's pose. "You're a natural, Mrs. H," Sophia exclaimed, dubbing her the nickname that stuck. Subtle shifts appeared in the margins, like footnotes in a well-loved book. During a fall foliage drive to Portland, Sophia critiqued Eleanor's playlist. "So much folk, Eleanor. Let's add some indie pop." And Eleanor obliged, though Simon and Garfunkel tugged at her soul. At Christmas, Sophia gifted her a sleek blender for healthy smoothies, while Eleanor knitted a scarf in Hargrove blues. "It's cozy," Sophia said, wrapping it around her neck with a polite smile. Daniel proposed the following spring, on a bluff overlooking the Columbia River Gorge. The ring, a vintage sapphire flanked by diamonds, was Thomas's mother's, resized by Eleanor in secret. The engagement party was at a trendy Portland brewpub, fairy lights and craft IPAs all around. Eleanor, in a dress Sophia selected, flattering but not trying too hard, raised her glass. "To Daniel and Sophia, may your love be as enduring as the bridges you build, and as vibrant as the events you create." Cheers rang out, but Sophia's toast followed. To new chapters, fresh starts, and leaving the past in the rearview. She winked at Eleanor, but the words landed like pebbles in still water, ripples that lingered. Wedding planning began in earnest that summer, a calendar of consultations and contracts that turned Eleanor's quiet days into a frenzy. Sophia, with her professional eye, took the helm, but Eleanor insisted on contributing. "It's your day, but I'm here for the heart of it," she said over a planning brunch at a Portland cafe, mimosas fizzing in flutes. Sophia nodded, flipping through a binder thick as a phone book. "Absolutely. Mom input is key. Tessa, my planner, is amazing. She did the mayor's vow renewal last year." Tessa was a vision in pencil skirts and power heels, her office a Pinterest board come to life. The first meeting set the tone. Napa Valley, late September, 150 guests. Eleanor suggested 75. Sophia won. Budget. Flexible, Sophia said airily, while Eleanor's savings account whispered warnings. Venue. A vineyard estate with barrel-vaulted ceilings and olive groves. Theme. Rustic elegance with a modern twist. Eleanor dove in with gusto. She sourced local florists for wildflower accents, baked sample cakes, chocolate hazelnut with sea salt, a nod to Willow Bay, and even learned Canva for digital invites. But clashes arose like thunderheads. No burlap, Eleanor, Sophia texted during a fabric swatch session. It's so farm chic. We're going silk du peony. Elegant, timeless. Eleanor bit her tongue, remembering Thomas's advice. Bend like the dune grass, love. Storms pass. She drove to Napa for site visits, her Subaru groaning under the load of notebooks and snacks. During one, as they toured the ceremony lawn, Sophia turned to her. You know, Eleanor, Daniel's always talking about your traditions. The oak tree vows, the family quilt. Sweet, but we're not Willow Bay folk anymore. This is our story. The words stung, but Eleanor smiled. Traditions evolve, dear. Like the sea, same waves, new shores. Back home, she confided in Martha over pie at the cafe. It's like I'm the ghost at the feast, Marth. Hovering but not welcome. Martha forked a bite of rhubarb, her eyes twinkling. Ghosts have power, Ellie. They haunt. But don't haunt, haunt with love. Set boundaries but keep showing up. She's testing you the way cats test new furniture. Eleanor laughed, but sleep evaded her that night. Dreams of Thomas danced with Sophia's critiques, waking her with the taste of salt on her lips. The pace quickened. Bridal showers, where Eleanor's handmade garters were admired but shelved. Rehearsal dinner debates. Eleanor offered the cottage. Tessa pushed a yacht club. Daniel mediated, his voice strained. Mom's place has heart, sophomore. Let's compromise. A beach barbecue after the vineyard. Sophia relented, but tension simmered. During a dress fitting in the city, Eleanor pinned hems while Sophia twirled. What do you think, Mrs. H? Too much. It's perfect, Eleanor said honestly. You look like a dream. Sophia met her eyes in the mirror. Good. Because dreams don't need anchors. The subtext piled up. A sigh when Eleanor suggested including Thomas's fishing locket in the something borrowed. AI roll at Eleanor's quaint favor ideas. Daniel noticed, pulling his mother aside after a vendor expo. She's scared, Mom, of not measuring up to you. Give her grace. I am, Eleanor replied, her voice cracking. But grace has limits, Dan. Like the tide. 2 weeks before the luncheon that shattered everything, Eleanor hosted a Hargrove Heritage Night at the cottage. Old photos, Thomas's sea shanties on vinyl, Daniel's baby book. Sophia arrived late, jet-lagged from a work trip. Cute setup, she said, poking at a photo of young Daniel in a sailor suit. So, vintage. The evening limped along, laughter forced. As Sophia left, she hugged Eleanor stiffly. Thanks for the history lesson. Now let's make new ones. Eleanor watched her taillights fade, the fog swallowing them whole. Little did she know, the real fog was just beginning. The pre-wedding luncheon was billed as intimate family bonding at the Langfords estate in Portland's Hills. A sprawling Tudor with manicured lawns and a pool that shimmered like liquid sapphire. Eleanor arrived early, her gift wrapped in butcher paper tied with twine, the framed sandcastle photo, a symbol of Daniel's joy. Mrs. Langford, Victoria, all Chanel and cool reserve, greeted her with air kisses. Eleanor, darling, so glad you made it. Sophia's been raving about your pie. Inside, the dining room gleamed. Crystal chandelier casting rainbows on damask tablecloths, a sideboard laden with charcuterie that could feed a regiment. Mr. Langford, Richard, bluff and booming, shook her hand like a business deal. Heard you're the backbone of the Hargrove clan. Good stock. Daniel enveloped her in a bear hug. Mom, you look beautiful. Sophia, in a sheath dress the color of champagne, pecked her cheek. Eleanor, sit by me. Lunch unfolded with the precision of a board meeting. Salads of arugula and goat cheese, salmon en croûte, conversations veering from stock tips to travel boasts. Napa's divine this time of year, Victoria said. Our friends the Winthrops had their vow renewal there. Fireworks over the vines. Eleanor contributed sparingly. Her apple pie offered as dessert. A family recipe, she said, slicing neat wedges. Sophia tasted it, then pushed her plate away. Delish, but I'm watching carbs. Big day coming up. Talk turned to the ceremony. No rice throwing, Sophia declared. Biodegradable confetti only. Eco-friendly chic. Richard chuckled. Kids these days, saving the planet one petal at a time. Then the pivot. Victoria asked about Eleanor's role. You'll be giving a toast, I assume? Mother of the groom traditions. Eleanor nodded, her prepared words bubbling up. Something short, heartfelt. About love's enduring waves. Sophia set down her fork with a clink that echoed. Table hushed. She turned to Eleanor, her green eyes narrowing like a cat sighting prey. You know, Eleanor, traditions are great and all, but honestly, the greatest gift for our wedding would be if you just disappeared from our family. Vanished. Like poof, no more input, no more helpful suggestions. It would make everything so much cleaner, so much us. The room froze. Richard's wine glass hovered mid-sip. Victoria's pearls seemed to strangle her. Daniel's face blanched, his knuckles white on the table. Sophia, what the fuck? Sophia shrugged, unblinking. What? It's true. Every step, the flowers clashing with your cottage vibe, the food that's too homey, the whole hovering mom energy. Daniel and I are building something new. You're the past tense. And it's exhausting. Past tense. The phrase eviscerated Eleanor. Her vision tunneled, the charcuterie board blurring into a Rorschach of rejection. She was the woman who had buried her husband, bandaged her son's heartbreaks, driven through blizzards for school plays. And now, dismissed like a draft email. Eleanor, Victoria started, but Eleanor was already rising, chair legs screeching protest. I should go, she whispered, voice a rasp. The gift sat abandoned, a sandcastle waiting for the tide. Daniel lunged after her. Mom, wait. Let her, Sophia said coolly. Maybe it's for the best. Outside, the rain had started, a drizzle that swelled to sheets. Eleanor fumbled for her keys, tears mingling with raindrops. The drive home was a gauntlet of wipers slapping rhythm, radio static drowning her sobs. Willow Bay welcomed her with open arms, the cottage lights a beacon in the gloom. She collapsed on the sofa, Thomas's old pipe on the mantel staring accusingly. Fight or fold, Ellie. His voice echoed in memory. Martha arrived an hour later, alerted by a frantic text. Oh, honey, she cooed, enveloping Eleanor in rosemary-scented arms. That witch. Wine. A voodoo doll. They talked till midnight. Martha's stories of her own daughter-in-law wars offering solidarity. Claws out but hearts in. Give it time. Daniel's your anchor. But as Eleanor lay in bed, waves pounding like accusations, time felt like the enemy. The wedding week was a tightrope walk over an abyss. Daniel called daily, apologies tumbling like loose change. She's remorseful, Mom. Therapy-level remorse. Please come. I need you there. Sophia texted once. Overreacted. Heat of moment. Still family. Eleanor replied with a neutral of course, but her heart lagged behind. She packed her blue chiffon, the one Sophia approved, and drove north, the highway a ribbon of resolve. Napa enveloped her in golden light, vines heavy with grapes, air sweet with earth and promise. The estate was paradise. Stone arches draped in ivy, lawns manicured to velvet. Guests arrived in waves. Sophia's city friends in Lululemon, Daniel's coastal crew in boat shoes. The night before, Eleanor dined alone in her room service Cobb salad untouched. A knock, Daniel, eyes red-rimmed. "Mom, I love her, but not at your expense. If you can't." "I can," she said, pulling him into a hug. "For you. Always." Dawn broke on the ceremony day, sky a flawless azure. Eleanor helped with final touches, adjusting Sophia's veil in the bridal suite, a space of mirrors and makeup palettes. "You look stunning," she said sincerely. Sophia hesitated, then hugged her. "Thanks, Eleanor. For everything." The procession began. Bridesmaids in sage silk, groomsmen in slim navy. Eleanor walked Daniel down the petal-strewn aisle, his arm solid under hers. The arch loomed, roses climbing like hope. Sophia waited, radiant, her father's arm a steadying force. Vows flowed, Daniel's voice cracking on through every storm, Sophia's clear on adventures untold. Rings slid on, a kiss sealed it, cheers erupted. Eleanor clapped, tears genuine though bittersweet. The reception was a kaleidoscope. Band crooning jazz standards, tables groaning with farm-to-table feasts. Eleanor toasted at the family table. To love that bends but never breaks, like dune grass in the wind. Applause, but Sophia's smile was tight. Fireworks capped the night, bursts of crimson and gold. Eleanor slipped away to a quiet terrace, the valley air cool on her skin. Daniel found her. "Dance with me, Mom." They swayed to an old standard, his head on her shoulder like when he was small. "I'm sorry," he murmured. "For all of it." "Love means forgiving the storms," she replied. "Just promise more rainbows." Sophia joined later, 3 champagne flutes in hand. "Truce?" she asked, clinking glasses. "You're stuck with me now." Eleanor clinked back. "Truces are for wars. Let's aim for peace." Honeymoon photos flooded in, beaches, mai tais, Sophia's captions. "Newlywed bliss." #fresh start. Eleanor liked them, but the cottage echoed emptier. Weeks passed without a call. Martha noticed. "Give him space but not silence." Nudge. Eleanor nudged. A care package of lavender soap, a note. "Waves return. Love, Mum." No reply. Then, 6 weeks post-wedding, Daniel appeared on her doorstep, face haggard, a duffel at his feet. "Soph's in LA for work." "Hey. I couldn't breathe in that condo without you in the picture." They unpacked his bag in the guest room, then sat on the porch swing, rocking to the rhythm of Revelations. "She's pulling away, Mom. Says the wedding was a reset, and old habits, like me calling home weekly, feel like chains. But you're not a habit. You're home." Eleanor traced the swing's chains. "And her. Is she your home?" Daniel sighed. "I thought so. But home shouldn't make you lose yours." He stayed a week, fixing the porch rail, cooking Thomas's clam chowder, opening up about doubts. She changed after the proposal. More demanding, less us. Sophia called on day 4, voice sharp. "Daniel Hargrove, this is insane. Get back here. We're married, not on sabbatical." "Not without talking," he said, speakerphone on. Eleanor listened as accusations flew. His mama's boy tendencies, her control issues. "It's her or me," Sophia snapped. "No," Daniel said firmly. "It's us or nothing. Mom's family. You're choosing to be." Silence, then a click. Days later, tires crunched. Sophia, sunglasses hiding puffy eyes, a peace offering of Eleanor's favorite tea in hand. The confrontation in the living room was raw theater. "I was wrong," Sophia admitted, perching on the sofa's edge. About the luncheon, about everything. My parents' divorce. It was ugly. Blame games, disappearing acts. I thought pushing you out would protect our bubble. Stupid. Eleanor, opposite in her armchair, nodded. Fear makes fools of us all. But family isn't a bubble. It's a boat. We row together or sink. Tears flowed. Hugs followed. Boundaries sketched. Monthly check-ins, no unsolicited advice. Therapy for the trio. Sophia stayed for dinner. Apple pie, laughter tentative but real. The mending was slow, like mending nets. Knots tied but tested by pulls. Holidays alternated. Thanksgiving in Portland with Sophia's fusion turkey. Christmas in Willow Bay with Thomas's eggnog. Cracks showed. A snide comment at Easter, a forgotten birthday call. But apologies followed, quicker each time. Then spring brought surprise. Sophia's pregnancy test. Positive in a Portland bathroom. Panic first. Morning sickness clashing with deadlines, then joy. She drove to Willow Bay alone, hand on her belly. Eleanor. Grandma. I need advice. Real talk. Eleanor brewed ginger tea, shared stories of Daniel's cravings, pickles and ice cream at 2 a.m. They shopped for cribs, painted the nursery via video. Theo. Sophia decided for Theodore Roosevelt, strong, enduring. Labor came in a Portland hospital, Daniel pacing, Eleanor on standby via FaceTime. Then the call. It's a boy. Come meet him. Willow Bay to Portland in record time. Eleanor's arms aching for the hold. Theo was perfect. Tiny fists, hazel eyes blinking at the world. Sophia, exhausted but glowing, placed him in Eleanor's lap. Your turn to hover, Mrs. H. Baptism under the oak, family whole. Toasts to futures, not pasts. Theo's first steps on the cottage beach. Sophia cheering beside Eleanor. Years wove on. Theo's laughter filling silences. Daniel's firm thriving. Sophia's business blending events with eco-retreats. Conflicts arose. A move debate, school choices. But words healed faster, roots intertwining. On Theo's 5th birthday, the cottage buzzed. Balloons, a sandcastle cake. Family spilling onto the lawn. Sophia pulled Eleanor aside. Locket gleaming on her neck. The greatest gift wasn't my disappearing act. It was your staying power. Eleanor smiled. Waves whispering agreement. Family disappears only if we let it. But we're the tide, always returning. In Willow Bay, where fog lifted to reveal rainbows, they thrived. Not perfect but perfectly theirs.